but also tracking data helps with advocating outside.
Yep.
So what are some ways that we can tell families that, this is good not just for your own instruction or for if your child goes to school, but how does this data that you're collecting help in advocating services and other things with other people that you're working with your child?
So one of the challenges with all services is it's based off of oftentimes anecdotal information. My son is having problems with this. My daughter is having issues with that.
Yeah.
And without tangible data, oftentimes you're forced into, well, we need to do testing. We need to do all of these various activities to actually see where it is your child fits in our spectrum of services. And then on top of that, you get maybe a day to bring your child in. If they're having a good day,
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of hoping for the worst at that point. You're like, come on, just have the day that you normally have.
Right.
And so you have that aspect. Then you also have the aspect of, are they receiving the care and the services that they need? And how is that affecting those care and services?
Right.
And that's where, as we've moved forward with this product, we're finding more and more that by allowing the entire community of people who work with your child to have access to this very detailed information, it opens up a lot of doors. Suddenly, instead of saying, hey, my child's having problems paying attention, hey, after 5 minutes, like I'm having, 15 to 18 prompts to get back on task for the next 15 to 20 minutes. You suddenly have very detailed information. And for somebody coming in to observe, being able to see the difference between that as a baseline and what they see as to what we've reported suddenly gives them a lot more context as to what's going on with your child. The other thing is like, as you share this information, you're really asking others to engage more because they have a feedback loop. And so that whole community around you suddenly has a way to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to, let's say a dad, for example. I ran the kid outside, for 30 minutes before work. And, I went back in, but that 30 minutes of running around made a massive difference in the education process. And sometimes that's what's needed, is a little bit of burning off excess energy. And so it allows more people to get engaged in helping the child than typically would have access, because usually it's the person observing the child or who works with the child on a daily basis who has to come up with all of the solutions.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not really the case. It's that one person has all of the context and has knowledge of kind of the general patterns, which forces them into that position of a solution maker. The more we can allow more into that detailed information and get insights, the more they'll self-engage in helping the child succeed as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've talked with other parents. They said, I go and talk to professionals about my children, and they think I'm just making things up. And they say, one mom even told me, she said, I'm taking pictures on a regular basis. I am to my doctor, because all of a sudden now they're believing me. But it seems like you have to have so much data to convince, doctors and professionals that you're not crazy. You're not the only one that's seeing this. It is observable. And so the more information that you can gather, and like you said, to have enough information to create a dialogue. And I think that when you go in to talk to people who have all these credentials, they're like, well, yeah, you're just a parent, and and we, like you said, we need to assess them and do all this. Well, I may just be the parent, but I'm the one who lives 24/7 with this, and I know what I'm talking about. And so,
and to give doctors a little bit of a break, the types of information that they're used to getting is very vague at best. I
Yeah,
actually saw a
that's so
statistic out
true.
there that said 80% of what doctors are diagnosing are treating and
Mm-hmm.
providing diagnoses on has no actual evidential base
Right.
to it because they don't have enough information to make an evidence-based decision. They're getting big pieces of information, they're reading tea leaves, and then they're saying, okay, I think you have this issue.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like you said, it's, based off of tests that are done in a very short period of time. And then they have to make a broad spectrum, diagnoses based on just that little bit of evidence. And so the more that you can bring in, and we tell parents this too, is, tracking data for their kids over multiple years. Because they say when they go to ask for accommodations in college and say, why didn't they give them to me? Well, if you just told them that and you couldn't prove that you've used them all the way through school, I'm sorry, they're going to say, that really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yep.
We all of a sudden allow these accommodations on their college entrance exams. So yeah, data speaks for itself. And